I'm going to start backwards with what Ron said, because in fact we had that struggle in Ireland. One of the national agreement to resolve the enormous debt that we agreed to pay to the Irish government agreed to pay to the European banks involved cutting wages for new hires in the public sector and cutting pensions. And we had a number of strikes. We had one by the teachers and another one by the nurses. And the center of those disputes was a return to standard pay and pension. And in both those cases, the workers were defeated because the trade union bureaucracy, A, held the line, and B, they were actually on the committees, the government committees that were supervising the pay agreements to make sure that they stayed inside the base. And then what Dave said, right? I think what you want to say is that partition, the significance of partition is that there's no Irish democracy. There's not an Irish nation with national independence. That's its significance, and democracy is a necessary but not sufficient basis for the struggle for socialism. So you see that it's necessary because we've got this desert in the north, and you see it's not sufficient because we've got this desert in the south where there are some elements of democracy and the British have been removed. And that boils down to, I think, what Giro says. In order to have, I had this row on many years ago, unity requires an object. The left should unite. What do they unite around? Well, they unite around things that the workers have to fight for. And those things are against social partnership by the union leaders and against the Good Friday Agreement and acceptance of the division of the country. And those things are not things that the socialist currents in Ireland will fight on. So, mind you, as I said earlier on to Danny, there's a lot of inbuilt organizational sectarianism. We could do better, but the basis of unity is a programme, and the programme in Ireland is against partition, against the Good Friday Agreement, against imperialist domination of our economy. And the last point, I think, goes to what Yada said. I think what it is that, again, I think Trotsky said this, is it's perfectly natural for the workers to be an oppressed class. That's part of the definition of what they are. The bourgeoisie rule and the workers are oppressed, and generally the workers don't see a way out of that. And the way out of that is when they're on the way up. So it's in transition. The opportunity for revolution comes in transition. And in the 60s, the transition was the workers had made fairly significant gains. They had a lot of confidence, and they thought, we can take on a bit more here, So you had these youth movements filled with confidence, ready to fight at the drop of a hat. And in the current phase, what it is people are hanging on desperately, and the desperation grows day by day. And you can see in the future, there comes a point when the workers will say, no, we can't. Right? We're coming quite close to it. We're fairly well off. Middle-class people have their sons and daughters in the spare room because they can't, at the age of 30 or 40, earning quite good wages, they can't move out of the house because there's nowhere they can afford to live. That's a tremendous pressure, which is constantly building up. It's not the only pressure, and at a certain point, that will snap. And I think the thing is that, again, to quote Trotsky, when he was on trial for the 1905 resolution, he says, "We don't prepare revolutions, we prepare for revolutions." It's the workers who decide when we'll have a revolution, but we have, how do we think in between? We've tried to build some experience so that we can present that as a weapon when the opportunity arises. And that's what I hope we can do in the future.